From the station working for you, this is ABC 27 News in high definition.
A man who held 3 women captive for over 10 years pleads guilty. His son gives his opinion on his sentencing.
A home invasion in a quiet Derry Township community leads to murder.
Also, smokers beware, the Capitol wants to put a comprehensive ban on smoking in public places, even casinos.
Good afternoon, I'm Mirriam Mason.
And I'm Daniel Bixler. A watchdog group at the Capitol says that you're allowing state legislators to steal money right out of your pocket.
Here's more on pension reform.
Transportation, liquor privatization, and pension reform. What some called the Big Three during state budget negotiations. What's last here, though, is certainly not least.
We have to do a new plan design that is maybe a cash balance or a hybrid kind of plan. The Commonwealth has to do something to make up for the 10 years that we underfunded that pension. Then if you do those things, I think it's reasonable to go to current employees and negotiate some concessions.
Pension reform is something that would help immediately reduce the burden on taxpayers. It's something that has become evident to Rock the Capitol frontman Eric Epstein as well. Every year, he has a team go over the cost of COLA, pension raises, and the pay raises that were enacted in 1995, 2001, and 2005. He believes the system is unfair and needs to be changed, but doesn't expect the legislators to do anything about it.
I think it's going to be very difficult to change a system that rewards pension plundering. Somebody like Joe Pitts, who's still making almost $180,000 a year as a congressman, is getting $90,000 a year taxpayer dollars for his pension.
Because of the way a lawmaker can double and sometimes triple dip the system. And he's not the only one receiving these benefits.
It's folks on both sides of the aisle. Allison Schwartz, Charlie Dent, Chaka Fatah, I believe, is also collecting a pension. It's not, it's not limited to one group or another.
All some people really want is a fair shake. A state legislator can retire after 10 years of service as long as they're 50 years old. The age requirement for other state workers can be as high as 65 years old or completing 35 years of service.
I think the time has come to elevate all employees in either of our pension systems to sort of the same level, so that what's good for the custodial worker at a school district should be good enough for a state legislator or a judge or an executive office official.
The governor's budget office reports that Pennsylvania's 2 pension systems' debt outweigh assets by more than a combined $47 billion, and that number is expected to reach $65 billion within the next 5 years.
In national news, he is labeled the Cleveland Monster. Ariel Castro has pleaded guilty to almost 1,000 counts of kidnapping, rape, and other crimes. He will spend the rest of his life behind bars, and according to Castro's son Anthony, that is where he belongs. In an interview he had with NBC's Today Show, he explained the physical abuse he and his mother faced from his father while growing up.
He wasn't, a monster 24/7, but if you crossed him, there would be consequences.
Castro was arrested on May 6th after 3 women, Gina DeJesus, Michelle Knight, and Amanda Berry, escaped from his home in Cleveland. After finding out the magnitude of the crime, Anthony vows to never visit his father in jail. While visiting in a usually quiet and safe neighborhood for a family member's graduation, something went horribly wrong. An intruder broke into their home and decided to take more than a few wallets and purses.
Clinging to life in her son's home, 87-year-old Joyce Roth had been stabbed in the chest. What police had originally called a burglary gone wrong, new leads led to the connection and then arrest of DeJuan Porter in the murder.
This murder occurred, we believe, directly as a result of pending criminal charges that Mr. Porter had here in Dauphin County Court.
Porter was scheduled for trial last Monday on several counts of involuntary deviant sexual intercourse. Police believe that Porter mistook Roth for one of his accusers who previously lived at that residence.
It's a very troubling case because it strikes at the heart of the criminal justice system. Here was someone who was pending trial, facing charges, who took actions to try and thwart a successful prosecution of him.
While a homicide in Derry Township is a very rare occurrence, police always urge residents to use caution.
Make sure your car doors are locked. Make sure your residential doors are locked. That you have ample exterior lighting up the outside of your home.
The arrest of DeJuan Porter was a collaboration between many task forces in the area. With that extra help, Porter was captured the day following the murder.
This is the first murder in Derry Township since 2001. DeJuan Porter is being held without bail in Dauphin County Prison.
With crime always under the magnifying glass in Harrisburg, Mayor Linda Thompson held a conference to discuss the benefits of her safety zones. The last safety zone under watch was the Hall Manor section of Harrisburg. This was safety zone number 5, and 6 is scheduled to begin soon. But the exact location has not been named yet. They don't want to tip off criminals in the area. Safety zone 5 did have some beneficial efforts. What were some of the actions taken? Well, a ton and a half of trash cleaned up, 6 property notices handed out, 11 traffic violations, and 33 warrants for arrest issued.
This initiative is not a dog and pony show. I mean, you hear us, we come out, braggadociously and talk about the success of this program.
With 11 homicides already this year, there's been some concerns that more can be done with police force in Harrisburg. But Thompson thinks they're doing just fine, if not better, with cutbacks in resources available.
A pastor in Franklin County has been arrested for downloading and then sharing child pornography. 53-year-old Keith Bell of Shippensburg was taken into custody by the Attorney General's Child Predator Section. A special agent had traced child pornography back to an IP address, and a court order to disclose the holder of that address was issued to Cumberland Technologies International. Judge Richard Lewis signed the order. Bell was arrested following the investigation into the downloading of numerous files containing images of underage children engaging in sexual acts and poses. When confronted with the crime, Bell stated he had seen those files but were unsure of how it had gotten on his computer. He is being charged with 3 counts of distribution of child pornography, 1 count of possession of child pornography, and 1 count of criminal use of a communication facility. At his preliminary hearing, he waived the 5 charges against him before District Judge Anthony Adams, who set a formal arrangement for September 26th. Bell is currently free on $150,000 bail.
As you may know, hunting is big in Pennsylvania, and it brings in big bucks. The message, "Hunting Works for Pennsylvania," was shared at the Capitol today. It sheds some light on hunting and its effect on PA's economy. Whether it's hotels, restaurants, gas stations, or the sporting goods stores, businesses have something to gain come hunting season. With nearly 1 million hunters in PA and $986 million spent annually in the industry, hunters can be a big source of economic income.
I take it for granted when I go to my hunting camp, how much does it cost me to go up there? And how much money do I spend when I get there?
There are a lot of different taxes on hunting supplies and equipment. The government puts that back into conservation plans and other environmental projects. After the break, the Wild West artifacts that previous Mayor Reed purchased might be paying off in the end.
And businesses are wondering what the effects of a complete ban on public smoking could mean for them. All of that and more after this. Harrisburg, an historic gateway to the West. According to previous Mayor Reed, this is the justification for purchasing all of those Wild West artifacts, to bring in more people to the city. But instead of those artifacts lassoing in more tourists to the city of Harrisburg, it brought in a different type of tourist, and for a very different reason.
Getting the attraction of not only the United States but countries across the world, the city of Harrisburg was selling off Wild West artifacts that were the collection of previous Mayor Reed. It was said to be one of the largest, if not the largest, historic auctions of artifacts in history, yet the city only made $2.1 million off the sale, just enough to pay off the loan tied to these artifacts, while Reed reportedly spent a whopping $8 million to purchase these artifacts.
That was not the will of the people, and felt that, if we're going to ask the taxpayers to accept a tax rate increase or a water rate increase, then we're not building a Civil War, we're not building a Western museum, and we need to relinquish our relics.
Although the profits do help the city in some ways, putting a 0.7% dent in the $370 million debt, the city believes that it was very important to get rid of the artifacts that were symbolic to the old city that is now transformed into a different, better place that is ready to wipe the slate clean.
I mean, we saw what happened in Detroit last week, and we're not going there. So we might end up being a model for how third-class municipalities can deal with a situation like this. As you know, there's cities all across the country have the same problem, so I think we've got a very positive story to tell in the end.
The auction was held by Arlen Enninger of the Guernsey's Auction Company. More than 7,200 people were registered to bid.
Even though the former Governor Ed Rendell signed a bill to ban smoking in a majority of public places 5 years ago, lawmakers in Harrisburg would like to see a broader ban put into action.
We want to make sure that when a person goes into a restaurant or a bar or the casino, that they can make sure it's smoke-free air and that they are breathing clean, healthy air.
A conference today at the Capitol supported the cause.
While one end of the cigarette, cigar, and electronic cigarette is a suicide, the other is murder. That's because the effect of secondhand smoke has proven dangerous to all who are surrounded by it.
Health benefits are clear, but what about those who enjoy their smoking responsibly?
This is a great source of fellowship, discussion, friendships made, and it would be a shame to lose that.
Bars, bar restaurants, cigar bars, tobacco shops, casinos, and even outdoor cafes will be stripped of their smoking privileges.
Freedom. I mean, should be allowed to smoke outside, even at a cafe.
Public establishment. But outdoors, that's going a little too far, I think.
The bill isn't expected to pass anytime soon, and opposition is already strong. The law now reads like this. To be eligible for an exception, drinking establishments must have 20% or less of sales from food and must not allow persons under 18 to be present.
Coming up on ABC 27 News, a soldier is tragically killed in action a month before returning home. His parents decide to honor him. We'll have that next.
Some local parents are lending helping hands to technical school students in need.
Deb and Ray Etheridge were parents of Zach Klauser, a graduate of Dover Area High School. He was a soldier in Iraq and was killed a month before he was scheduled to return home in 2007. The Motorcycle Technology Center at the York Technical Institute donated $4,000 to SBC Zachary R. Klauser Education Scholarship Fund. Mrs. Etheridge says if programs like this would have existed, her son may not have gone to the armed forces in order to pay.
We're doing it now in his name, carrying on his legacy of the type of person that he was. He was a very giving person.
Deb and Ray are a part of the Guardian Knights Motorcycle Club and hold a memorial ride in his honor at least once a year on his birthday.
Thanks for watching ABC 27 News at noon.
We'll have more news for you tonight at 5, 6, 7, and 11. Enjoy the day.